Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about one of the highest growth EV and clean energy stocks out there that Wall Street is completely ignoring in my opinion. Now we've obviously seen a ton of new companies come public into the hydrogen, solar and EV scene over the past year or so, but the company I'm featuring in this video has the opportunity to outperform every single one of them while being the least riskiest out of all of them as well. I'm of course talking about Plug Power, trading under the ticker symbol PLUG, which is one of the leading energy technology companies in the fuel cell and green hydrogen sectors, but has recently also entered into the very lucrative electric vehicle space. In this video, I'm going to talk about exactly why Plug Power could be a multi-bagger long-term investment. I'll be going over their latest joint venture news and my price targets and ideal entry prices for those interested in investing in this stock. But before we get into it guys, make sure to drop me a thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button if you haven't already. To start off, I want to quickly explain how exactly Plug is setting up to benefit big time from the entire EV boom. If you're hearing about this company for the first time, these guys essentially sell hydrogen fuel cell systems for things like forklifts and airport trucks. These systems essentially allow Plug's customers to operate their vehicles completely with zero combustion and zero carbon emissions, since fuel cells simply convert hydrogen fuel into electricity with no combustion. And as we all know, companies are investing a lot of money lately into electrifying their businesses because of climate change and obviously the huge government policies that we've seen with the recent administration. But what separates Plug from the rest of the fuel cell stocks out there, however, is the fact that Plug also makes and sells the hydrogen fuel itself to power these fuel cells. These guys have a completely new business where they are selling large electrolyzers that convert water into completely carbon-free hydrogen from renewable energy. And the best part is that this generation side of their business is still only a very small portion of their total revenue right now, and given the insane amount of money they are pouring into making new facilities means that there is a huge amount of revenue growth that is completely unaccounted for in this company's valuation right now. And this is exactly where Plug Power's big opportunity in electric vehicles comes in. As you can see, earlier this year, Plug launched a 50-50 joint venture with one of Europe's largest commercial truck sellers, Renault. This partnership is expected to produce and sell the very first electric hydrogen-powered vans in Europe starting late this year, for which Plug will provide the hydrogen refueling infrastructure, the fuel cell systems, and the electrolyzers to produce the green hydrogen fuel. These guys have named this joint venture Hyvia and are currently planning to take over 30% of the entire light commercial vehicle market in all of Europe by 2030, which will render a huge increase in the top line revenue growth for both Renault and Plug Power. You see, light commercial vehicles are extremely popular in Europe because of the smaller cities and roads compared to the US, which is why whichever company is going to be able to electrify these vehicles first could end up reaping big rewards, just like Tesla was able to with cars in the US. Hyvia plans to develop and sell these hydrogen-powered vans starting the end of this year, with all the manufacturing for these vehicles done across 3 facilities in France. France, as we know, has some of the best-selling vehicle makers in the whole of Europe, and given the fact that Plug Power will be supplying the entire fueling ecosystem to Hyvia's customers, just like Tesla does with its superchargers, makes me very confident in this joint venture being a huge success. Not only will Plug be able to vertically integrate their business through Hyvia, but with all the money they've been recently investing in making new hydrogen production facilities, they'll be able to become the #1 supplier of green hydrogen fuel to anybody who needs it. And we all know that hydrogen is indeed going to be the way to electrify heavy-duty vehicles and even aircraft in the future, which is why Plug Power expanding their production capacity right now could pay massive dividends for shareholders in the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion, both figuratively and literally. On top of this, Plug just last week announced that they've converted their $1.6 billion investment from South Korea's largest technology company, SK Group, into a full-scale joint venture. This means that Plug will help build out a gigafactory in South Korea by 2024 to make electrolyzers and at the same time supply green hydrogen as a fuel to refueling stations across the entire country. And as a matter of fact, Asia is definitely leading North America in their adoption of the hydrogen economy, which is why this partnership could bode very well for Plug's top line revenue over the next 3 to 5 years. And if we have a look at Plug's latest earnings report, you can see that these guys have around $4 billion in cash right now, with only around $900 million in debt, which is one of the big reasons for why I think the risk for this stock is very low. Because you see, a lot of other clean energy stocks out there on the market are not only sitting on a lot of debt right now, but most of them are also relatively new to the market. And Plug Power has been around for 20 plus years, and they've shown consistent revenue growth for the past decade, with the founder Andy Marsh leading the company as CEO. And in my experience, this is an extremely rare combination that creates a super unique investment opportunity for those that might be interested in adding an EV or green hydrogen stock into their portfolio. So now that we've had a look at the business and the company's plans for the next 5 years, let's have a quick look at the stock chart to get an idea for what are good entry prices for this specific stock and what could we expect happening with this share price in the very short term. As you can see, over the past week or so, we've had an insane move on this stock as we've been running up into Plug Power's synopsium that is happening on the 14th of October. And as you can see, today we closed up at least 7.7%, which is a very big move for a stock that's really just been consolidating sideways for the past 6 months or so. And since the volume has significantly picked up on this stock over the past 2 days, I expect a pretty big move coming on this stock to at least test this $35 resistance level. Since we're now above that 50-day moving average as well, we could well go ahead and test this 200-day moving average that's also sitting right around that $35 level. And certainly if we get above that resistance, I see a very good short squeeze coming on the stock to at least the $50 level, which is exactly what we traded at back in March and February of this year. And this is exactly what makes Plug Power such an exciting stock in my opinion, because this stock's been doing nothing for the past 6 months, which has allowed investors like us to really build a strong position in this company while the rest of the market really has struggled to grow. If you look at any clean energy or growth stock chart over the past year or so, all of them ended up peaking out back in February and January, and since then we've seen a huge rotation out of these growth plays and into much more safer stocks like Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple. But just like everything in the stock market, that's not going to last very long, and sooner rather than later we will see a rotation back into smaller, more speculative companies like Plug Power. And like I mentioned, Plug Power has $4 billion in cash and the market cap is only $17 billion, which really goes to show the reward potential on an investment on the stock in my opinion. If we go down to the weekly chart, you can see that we're also signaling a nice MACD crossover, which means that the shorter term trend is definitely turning to the bullish side. And if we start seeing a crossover above the zero line on the MACD and a move over this 50-week moving average, I see us having a very nice move to at least the $50 region in a very short amount of time. But generally speaking, for me, anything under $30 is a great entry price on this stock, and my price targets technically speaking would be around $50, followed by this $75 resistance level that we hit back in January of this year. But longer term, however, my price targets are at $89 a share and around $190 a share for 2024 and 2027 respectively. I'm coming up with these numbers based on the revenue estimates that Plug gave out in September of last year of around $1.2 billion for 2024. And I'm using the value to revenue ratio of around 40x, which is exactly what Plug Power is actually trading at right now. And since we've seen Plug Power stock do basically nothing but go sideways for the past year or so, tells me that that's a pretty good value to revenue ratio to use for a company that's growing at such a fast rate. And if we do the math, we come up with a market capitalization by 2024 at around $51 billion, which obviously correlates to a price around $89. Now, obviously, these projections don't account for any dilution or any changes in the market or macroeconomic forces for the next 3 years. But generally speaking, I do believe that this stock can definitely be well over $100 per share in the next 4 to 5 years, given just how quickly these guys are growing their top line. And using a 30% annual growth rate, I estimate 2027 revenue to be around $2.63 billion, with a share price potentially sitting at around $190 a share. And if I'm being completely honest, these revenue estimates are very conservative because, like I said, this $1.2 billion number is actually from their 2020 annual report. And since then, these guys have announced a lot of joint ventures and a lot of partnerships for which the revenue is definitely not priced into this figure right here. And if you look at Plug Power's latest slideshow, they predict an annual growth rate actually at around 45% instead of the mediocre 30% that I've used for this specific calculation. So I hope that puts into perspective exactly how quickly I expect the stock to move in the next 5 years and why I think this is definitely a once in a generation type of investment opportunity. But anyways, guys, make sure to drop me a thumbs up if you found some value from this video. Let me know what you guys think of Plug stock in the comment section below and their whole partnership with Hyvia. I'd be really interested in hearing you guys' opinions. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.